Evening, everybody. Welcome to the chat. And let's see, we've got a couple of people here. I don't know who we have on YouTube. I don't have my other computer open, so I'm not going to worry about it tonight too much. If there is anybody on YouTube, what they should do is just let us know who you are, where you're from, and we can work with you through the chat on YouTube. So tonight is kind of an open channel. We'll see who arrives. Unfortunately, the rain has left us, so consequently, I'm sure a lot of people are just staying outside, and not that I blame them. Okay, let's see. The thing that I'd like to talk about is that we're going to have a couple of guest speakers on tonight. Actually, Scott is going to be showing a couple of pictures, a few pictures, actually, and he's going to be talking a little bit about the photographs that he took. Outside of that, if there's anybody else that wants to share their images, they can do that, or you can do that, and we'd be happy to help you. I'm just going to get okay, we have somebody who came in here. Scott, how are you? Thanks for dropping in on YouTube, and I appreciate you coming. We've got, I don't know how many people we've got on YouTube, but okay, so Maurice, you've got some photos to share. We'll look forward to that. Super. Okay. Right, Scott. Now, hang on, everybody. I'm going to send Scott a YouTube link, and actually, I'll copy the link, but you'll also probably need a password. So I'm going to put that into the YouTube chat. So there's the link, and there's the ID. And here's the password. Good evening, Steve.
Hey, George.
Nice to see you here. Boy, it's bright and sunny in that room.
Yeah, I had trouble signing in for some
Why?
reason. I don't know. The links you sent me on the chat, they didn't work tonight for some reason. So I had to manually punch everything in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well,
weird.
manual is good, I
Yeah,
suppose, as long as it works.
yeah.
And I think I've got somebody. Oh, here's Scott Simmons. He's transitioning from YouTube to Zoom.
Okay.
Good evening, Scott. How are you doing?
Better now.
Better. Good.
Well,
Better is on.
you sent that link through Facebook, and I tried it, and nothing worked. It didn't do anything. And then I've never had to use passwords or codes or anything like that. It just opens up a meeting.
Yeah, it should have
But
done that.
it wasn't doing it with the one you sent me through Facebook.
Ah,
So that's why I asked how do I get in, because I prefer to do this than do YouTube.
YouTube. Yeah, I
Right?
prefer you here too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, uh, anyway, I'm glad that you guys are here. And while you're here, and again, I don't know how many people are on YouTube because I don't have that open right now. I
I
suppose
think it
I
was
could.
just me.
Okay. Oh, it could be. Could be. I know
They know
that
better.
Steve is pretty good at getting on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm on there now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have what, one person?
Yeah, just one.
Okay.
That's probably me. I'm gonna get off that and just get on the Zoom.
Okay. Sounds good. Now, I was just saying to everybody that one of the things about good weather and so on, and the fact that there's no agenda tonight except whoever wants to show a couple of things are welcome. And I know that Scott had not Scott, yeah, Scott. We got two Scotts. So Scott Rolfe and Scott Simmons. So Scott R and Scott S. Anyway, I know that Scott R is has three images he wants to show, and then uh, Maurice, you said you got a few. Okay, good. All right. Well, before we get into that at all, I'm going to just say that there's going to be on the 20th of May, I've got Andrew McLaughlin coming in, and he's going to be talking about his wildlife photography, particularly about his underwater photography. I think he uses a Sony with an underwater housing, and he's going to show how he takes those photographs. And lighting is always a challenge underwater, so he's going to be talking a little bit about that. And he does this interesting type of photography where he'll photograph a fish underwater, like in this image here, and half the lens is above water. So, you get some of the landscape above the water and then also the fish underwater. Now, big question I'll probably have for them is how do you focus on both the fish and the landscape? Or do you compromise? Or do you use something called the hyperfocal distance law, which I'm sure everybody's familiar with here? Anyway, then on the 27th, we have Scott Simmons, and he's going to be showing um, painting with light. He's going to be talking about that. And I've put in there painting with light as a performance art because that's what he called it in his bio. So you'll get that all that information on the 27th, and we're really looking forward to it. I know some of my students at Mohawk College will be here on the 27th because they really want to find out how you did some of these amazing photographs, Scott. Now, outside of
That's
that,
good.
upcoming, yeah, Chris Atkins will be here someday, probably in June when things slow down a little bit for him. He is a drone photographer. He's a deep sea photographer, and he's going to be showing some of his photography and video um, that they took while looking for a U-boat off the coast of Newfoundland. So That'll that'll be interesting. I've had him here before. If you guys go back in my chats, you'll find that Chris Atkins was here, and he was talking about uh, various types of photography he's done in the past, including in Siberia and then the Near East and deserts, and then also throughout the states. And he's won some awards uh, for his videography. Looking forward to that as well when that happens. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start with Scott R. And Scott, are you kind of ready? And with Scott, I have his photographs because he's got a new laptop, and for some reason, it's not allowing him to share properly. So,
Technical difficulties.
yeah, technical difficulties, right? It has to be. That's what it
Story
has
of
to
my
be.
life. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, he's going to be showing these images and talk a little bit about them. Um, I think we got your name. Yeah, fantastic. So this is what it's going to look like, Scott
Mhm.
S. You're going to have the names come up. Now, if you want this to be full screen in Zoom, then I think you know how to do it. All you have to do is go up to your my thumbnail where you see the two images of myself and of, oh, sorry, wrong way, Scott. And pin that. I think that that will work. I'm going to do that right now for myself. When? And now you're full screen, so you'll see all the images that are presented full screen as well, if you do that kind of pinning. Okay, so Scott, I'm going to go to the presentation mode now, and I just have to bring up your images because I think I put them into, well, I just downloaded them, right? So they went
So as a
right.
preamble, I'm pretty new to this stuff. I just felt like showing something to get the ball rolling.
Oh,
And these
thank
are
you.
probably meh, okay. Um, but I kind of like them. They're from the local neighborhood.
Yeah, I'm just looking, find them here. They're not in the folder that I wanted to put them in. Let me see if I can go back to my chat here and dig them out.
They were my first soiree into using Lightroom. I haven't had any course on Lightroom yet, so the Mohawk one hasn't happened in applied photography. So I did it with LinkedIn Learning and started with Adobe, and because I'm trying to get work in photography, and people are always asking if you have Lightroom and Photoshop education. So I'm trying to get ahead of it.
Okay.
And they just canceled the Photoshop class for this semester at Mohawk.
That's too bad.
Yeah, through lack of signups, I guess. So LinkedIn Learning it is, and you guys.
Hang on here. Why is this a problem for me now? You see, now I'm having a technical problem here. And I'm going to get over it right this minute. I'm going to go down to, there we go. And I'm going to drag this thing.
There it
All
is.
right. Yeah. Just going to resize this puppy. Yeah, this really, I should be doing all this beforehand. So one of the things that we have to make sure of, lost, no, we have, okay. So dot S, we'll have a rehearsal to make sure that everything goes smoothly. So there you go. That's the image. And go ahead. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, I was just out walking with my wife. This has been 2, 3 weeks ago at least, with my camera, and I don't know. This is on Aberdeen, so we took the rail trail up from we live in Dale, and this is a railway bridge going over Aberdeen, just where the golf course up to Shadow Golf Course, or the road up to Shadow Golf Course goes, if that helps anyone that wants to know. And we just walked under and had a look-see, and the lines looked kind of interesting. I'm finding that I like lines and architectural photography quite a bit. So yeah, I took this, and then when I started to play with Lightroom, this was the first one I started messing with. didn't used to be able to see the bolts and such things. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't have too much to say about it. And I tried to get it. I tried to get it without cars, and I'm trying to. I have a friend named Chris Shepard who does a lot of landscape photography. He's in Toronto, and one thing someone pointed out about his is there's no people in his photographs, and I thought that was pretty cool. They call him post-apocalyptic, but so I kind of sometimes try and not have people in the photographs because I think that's a neat idea.
Okay, and here is next one. Might as well stick with architecture, right?
Sure. Tiny architecture coming next, I think, then. Oh no, this is the other.
That's a big image. We,
Oh, is it raw? Or just big?
no, it's big.
Yeah.
And I'm going to expand it a little bit. There you go. That's it. It's all yours.
So again, this is on I guess it used to be a road, but it's from the Shit Oak Golf Course parking lot on the way up to Scenic Drive. This is a pedestrian bridge they built a few years back, and I'm looking back towards the golf course. It was a color photograph, and I kind of liked the tunnel sort of effect of it. And again, I'm playing with Lightroom, so I decided to check it out in black and white, and I thought it worked pretty neat. And on the other side of the bridge behind me, if I kept walking up, I could look back down on our street, Emerson, where the street that we live off, which is Emerson. So it's kind of a short walk, but a good walk from the house. I like to walk around with my camera. Yeah,
It's a really
again,
good photo.
you think?
Especially the first one. I thought like that was just really cool. Just the way the patterns of the bridge. I thought that was a good one.
Yeah, and I took a bunch of snaps of that first one and pick and choose. I picked through them, and that was my favorite one for the lines and such. And again, this one I've got no people. I'm doing the no people thing, stealing it from Chris Shepard.
Okay. Next
He's
one.
good to look up if you ever should. He did a nice one of the subway systems in Toronto, Montreal, and New York City. No people. But yeah. That was the third and last one. I was kind of playing with street photography. I can't remember what lens I used. These are, I think, with 50s. I can't remember. I should know that. But again, this is right around the corner from us. And this place has been here since I went to McMaster, and it's been a lot of different things. Video store, adult video store, barber shop, but it's teeny weeny and colorful and stands out. So again, I played with Lightroom. In the window, it had open signs and a bunch of stickers and stuff. So I removed them. There was a bunch of garbage on the grass out front. So I didn't actually move the garbage. I just took it out with Lightroom. And then I sort of tried to dull down the buildings in the back because I didn't think they looked that nice. So again, it's just Lightroom experimentation, and I think I like little places like this. There's a couple of them. Yeah,
Okay.
Emerson. Yeah.
All right. I'm just doing something here.
So I kind of like street photography too. Henry's just has a group meeting down for art crawl on Friday night to do a street photography walk. FYI.
Okay, good. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Yeah. So,
Well, like I
um,
said, they're pretty rudimentary, and I'm still fair amateur, but this is my learning curve.
well, you got to start somewhere. We all do.
I wish she still had her little wood barber pole, but someone stole it. We're right in the middle of the student neighborhood, so it's probably wound up hanging in someone's living room. And her father made it. It was too sad, but oh well.
Okay. Now, Scott S., are you willing to just tell us a little bit about what your presentation is going to be about on the 27th?
Sure. Um, so it is the light painting, and basically answering all the questions that we get when we do it, because we do. It's something people aren't used to seeing, and they don't quite get. A lot of times they don't quite get what they're looking at, right? There's a model and we're moving lights behind them. So it's the tools. And the tools are big because some of them are homemade and some of them we have purchased. And when I say we, it's me and my buddy Chris got into this over COVID. And so some of the tools that we purchased, some of the tools that we've made, and then little videos that I did in my driveway for occasions just like this, of actually seeing us do it, and then the result of the movement that you make. And that's why I say it's kind of a performance art, because the photography is the easy part. You open your shutter and just wait, and then you close it when you're done. The no specific special techniques for the photography. It's really the special part is how you move the lights. In the case of the one you used for the promotion, there's two different tubes, and I think Chris spun that one. Two different tubes, and you turn one on and you turn the other one off, and you have one blinking and one not blinking, and the way you move it and everything else, and that's how you get your patterns and designs. So,
Well, yeah, I think you kind of nailed it on performance art, because uh, I'm not sure how long your exposures are, but your model has to be still for that time.
yeah, yeah, because most of them are like that one in particular is probably a little longer. It's over 5 seconds,
Yeah,
right? Some of the basic ones are 2 to 3 seconds, just like a straight circle, we call it, when we're just making a circle
yeah,
behind the person. That's maybe 2 seconds, 2 or so seconds from the time we tell you to open to the time we tell you to close your shutter, right? And but then when we start doing things where it's further out and we're running around in the dark and we're doing that kind of stuff, they get up there. And when we do the orb, which is like all the little lines going around and it makes like a globe, that's called an orb. And that's around between 25 and 35 seconds.
yeah.
But there's no people in it. We don't put people in those ones because
No,
nobody can stand still that long. Because all you
yeah,
got to
but
do is move a tiny little bit. But yeah, where I'm
you're,
moving,
yeah, you're in it.
they're actually hard to do because you're swinging this thing on a string, on a rope, and you have to move a certain way to make it all. It's easy to make a pumpkin,
Yeah,
right? It's hard to make a sphere.
yes,
So
yes,
that does take practice.
yeah.
And that one, when we're doing it, we can only do so many of them, and then you're too tired. It's really hard on your arm and your shoulder. You're holding everything stiff, but you're doing all the movement in your wrist, right? So this is stuff we've just picked up and learned, been shown. There's lots of videos of it out there yeah, and there's a guy in St. Catharines who makes the stuff we use.
Yeah.
He has a business supplying light painters with the equipment, right? So he
Well,
designed it all, and we bought it off of him in COVID, and we've used it, and we've traveled all over the place doing workshops on it. So it's a
yeah.
lot of fun. Yeah,
Okay, I can
yeah,
imagine. And the thing is that I know that many times when you first start something like this, it's trial and error. You do it,
Oh,
and then you see what the result is, and you say, no, no, we got to move it over this way a bit, and so
well,
on.
see, I
So,
tried to do the first time I tried to spin an orb. I'm going. Okay, it's 7:35. Sunset at 7:30. You run
yeah,
outside, and I'm sitting there taking pictures, and like you can't even see it. I was like, no, you got to wait for about 45 minutes to an hour for it to get dark enough
right.
to actually be dark, right? You don't think of this stuff. And then I was having trouble. My feet kept showing up in the pictures. And I talked to the guy who sold us this stuff and said, I'm trying and nothing I can do. My feet keep, he goes, put on some dark shoes.
Black shoes.
Oh, get out of here. That's it? He goes, yeah, put on dark shoes and don't wear shorts, right? I'm pasty white all over. It's like two bright, fluorescent white poles, and you're lighting them up, and you can see my legs and you can see my feet. So put dark pants on and black shoes. And my feet go away. My feet mostly disappear. You don't think
Okay.
of that stuff, right? Sometimes you need the obvious pointed out to you, right? But yeah, like I said, the photography, like ISO 400 and 5.6, and hold the shutter open as long as it's needed,
Yeah,
and you'll be pretty much in the ballpark. Anything after that is all us moving around in the background, right?
right, right.
So it's great. Like every camera club and group that we've done it for, just after the first time, and they get something oohs and ahs and all this stuff, and they just love it, right?
Yeah,
But yeah, and it's something. It's a bit of investment in money and that kind of stuff, but it's really not that expensive compared to the lens on your camera,
right.
right? Like
I
relatively speaking, it's chump change.
Yeah, I have a question for you though. A
Yeah,
long time ago, and I mean years ago, I ran into a guy on the internet who is from Australia. And I think if you look up on YouTube orb photography Australia, you'll get him. This guy only does orbs. He goes around
yeah.
in various places doing orbs. He blows these things up, huge posters, and sells them for
Good money.
fantastic money.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I've
because
seen I've seen some of the guys in Australia. Well, the other thing, the problem we have is, like I'm in Niagara Falls.
yeah,
No such thing as a dark sky.
no, exactly.
Ever. Ever. Right? If you want, there's always some kind of ambient light, even if it's light reflecting off the low clouds and the humidity and everything else. So you never get a truly dark sky, dark enough. So we do have a tunnel we go to that's only like 2 minutes from my house. Not unlike the one Scott showed, except there's nothing down the middle. But
Right.
similar in angular structure, but it's only about I'd say it's about 12 or 15 feet wide. It's
Yeah,
like a one lane road would drive through it, but it shows up really cool when you light it up at night. Um, and it's a public access. It's not like we're behind anybody's property where it's public access trail, and it's good there because then it gets darker earlier, and it can be thunderstorming, and you can still do what you want to do.
yeah.
But yeah, we've had a ton of fun and met a lot of nice people, right?
Well, there's a place in Brantford actually, in West Brantford. Just when you go over the bridge across the Grand, if you make an immediate right, and that's Lorne Park. And if you go into Lorne Park, you can park there, and there is a pedestrian tunnel that goes under the road over to the other side, and that would be perfect for something like this. And it's got graffiti in it too. Last time
Yeah,
I looked, it did.
the
But
graffiti is nice to have.
yeah, but I also noticed on some of your photographs that not only did you do the light painting, but then you also lit the walls in different colors.
Yeah, that's just a different tool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and so
yeah, that's a different technique you'd come up with, right?
sure,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
So this is why I'm so looking forward to the 27th, and you're going to show this stuff and explain. And now that I heard that you also have a couple of videos.
yeah. They're little MP4s that are.
Yeah,
So what happened was Chris and I would decided we should. We were doing camera club like live show up workshops, right?
Yes.
They wanted to do it, but then some other camera clubs couldn't do it. They were too far away. They still wanted us to do something, so we adapted it all to a Zoom meeting, a Zoom
Yes.
format. So we thought, well, how do we do this, right? And so we came over to my driveway and did it up against the garage. They're pretty rudimentary, but you'll see the general motion, so you can you just get an idea of how we're
Yeah.
moving to get the look that we're after. We show you the result and show you the movement, and then it all kind of, oh, okay, that makes sense. And you're really, we always say, like, you're only limited by your imagination, right? Like, move any way you want. This is what we do to get our point across, right?
Yeah.
And the rest is up to you. Take it and run with it. Like, we didn't invent it. A guy in Montreal did. Eric Pare, Pare, and he has a whole business on selling the tubes and everything, right?
Yeah.
He makes them and sells them and ships them all over the world. But you can buy all the parts anywhere. You can go to Home Depot and get some of the parts.
Yeah.
And so I didn't want to pay for a 4-foot tube to be shipped. Like,
No.
that's kind of ridiculous. But you can buy some of the parts off him. You can buy some of the parts at Home Depot, and you can put them together in about 10 minutes.
Right.
Really, really easy. Not difficult at all. The hard part is getting off your rear end and getting out and doing it.
Yeah. I
Right.
hear you.
As
Yeah.
any other kind of photography, right?
And of course, it requires a bit of planning, as you say, especially if you're going to use a model in it, then you've got, that
Yeah.
too, and maybe the outfit that you're going to want them to wear, because, I noticed that there's a couple of cases where they're wearing a very long kind of outfit that really suits that atmosphere.
Yes. Yeah, we used two different models, and we have used. Chris's wife was into a dance at one time, and when we first got going, we didn't have any models, and we used her, and she wasn't thrilled about it. Wasn't she did it
Yeah.
for us just because, and so she also has a problem in the cold and the dampness. She really feels it. So we got another model contacted us on Facebook, and then we found another model that we did, and so I kind of swapped between the two ladies and give them equal coverage, and we've been everywhere. We've been at Brant Camera Club, like
Yes.
to talk about Brantford.
Yeah.
We're going up to London just after the podcast. And we've been to, Trillium up in there. We've done Hamilton a couple times down at the water and up at one of the parks up there, Bayfront Park, I think it is. We've been in there, all over.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. Yeah.
I could see something like that happening in a derelict factory.
Yes. Yeah. Actually, inside I kind of like doing it inside better.
Yeah.
Right. There's less variables. Right.
Including wind.
We've been over to Buffalo.
Yeah.
We've done some at the camera clubs over the river in Buffalo and Delaware Park and the Albright Knox Museum right across the street. But inside, yeah, there's no wind. It's not like the day before. Okay, it's going to rain tomorrow. We got to cancel because of the weather.
Yeah.
And the one thing about outside, it's easier to use sparklers and that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
They don't know. All the halls don't want us to have sparklers flying around.
No,
They
I guess not.
they frown.
Now,
They kind of frown on that stuff, right?
yeah.
But
Did you use? It looked like you used steel wool too.
we have used steel wool. We don't do it in those workshops because usually it's just a lot harder.
Right.
It's just harder to do for a bunch of people, and usually we're inside in a camera club meeting space, which is a church auditorium or a school auditorium or some kind of a meeting place.
Yeah.
And if you're out where people can see you and sparks are flying around and everything else, before you know it, the
And get
lights are
silly.
going off and people are pulling up, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, you gotta be careful. But anyways, I'm
Exactly.
looking forward to it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, Scott, thanks a lot. We're looking forward to it. And for those of you that are here, please feel free to share that link that's on my Facebook. Now, I've also put it on Instagram. I know, Scott, that you shared it, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, and I think
So
some of the other clubs we've been to have shared it. So you
good.
might be surprised that hopefully get a whole bunch of people
Yeah,
dialing in. Yeah.
this whole chat thing is an experiment I started not quite a year ago, I think, and it was just something because I've been teaching at Mohawk College for 45 years, and it's kind of a little funny story there. I might as well tell you. Um, See, back about a few weeks ago, I got a letter from the president saying they're inviting me to this award celebration, and I'm going to get my 20-year pin.
Oh, there you go.
And I said, 20-year pin. Hmm. Anyway, I went and I got it. And then the other day I was at a class and I had some time. I went to HR and I said to them, I got my 20-year pin, but I'm sure I've been teaching here longer than that. And so the HR person, I have to give her credit. She says, let me look that up. She looked it up. And 2 days later, she says, on this Thursday night, tomorrow night, we want you to come to a dinner because that's where the recipients will be getting their 40-year pins.
There you go.
I said, okay, that was the fastest 40 years I've ever done.
That went by like
Oh, I'll
nothing.
tell you, they say when you get old, time flies. It did. I'm amazed.
Yeah, that's funny.
And then they told me in August I get my 45-year pin.
Wow. People said this guy must want a lot of free dinners.
Yeah,
Every time we
exactly.
have a dinner, he wants to show up and get another pin.
That's right. That's right. Anyway, I just thought I'd relate that
Good for
story to
you.
you. But
Yeah.
but
No, that's
anyway,
great.
they were good enough to actually look it up and found out that I actually started teaching in '89.
Wow.
Yeah, not 1889, 1980.
Yeah.
I just wanted to be
Well,
sure.
we just had our camera club banquet. I've been there 42 years
Wow. Yeah.
in the camera club, so I've got a life membership finally. They haven't handed one out in like 60 years, so they gave me one last week.
Well, I'm
So
glad they
that's
didn't wait
kind of
another
nice.
60.
Yeah, no, they should be doing that stuff, recognizing all the work, right?
Oh, yeah, I think so. I think that's
Yeah,
only a nice thing to do. Okay, well, thanks, Scott, and I really
yeah, no
appreciate you
problem.
dropping in, just giving us a little bit of insight on what's going to happen on the 27th. I'm really looking forward to it, and you and I will have a quick little rehearsal beforehand to make sure everything runs smoothly, and I
Yeah,
think that shouldn't be a problem.
everything is sized out to
Yep,
1920 1080,
perfect.
so that's probably going to be fine for you without too much trouble.
Yeah, yeah, it'll be good. Okay, so now I'm going to go to Maurice. Okay, Maurice, you've got some images you want to share?
Yes. For some context, how I what I did is like me and a few guys who were in the digital photography too. This is like after we did the course. This is
Yeah,
just for fun. We went to the RGB Gardens in Hamilton to take some photos last year in the spring or summer. Or actually, believe it may have been even the fall, actually. But I got some photos I want to share with you guys. So, here we. What the heck?
yeah. Let me know when I'll see it come up here in my editor. And
And I'm just going to just do this. Windows. Hold on for a sec. Why won't it let me? You know what? Okay, I'll click on share.
yep,
Yep. So I'm really organized. So if you can see it, just opening it up right now.
just we need it full frame.
Okay. Are you able to do it, or are you just
No, do you have it full frame? Like, have you opened
have a
up the
full?
image? Yeah, you got to open up the image.
Hold on, let me
No.
just try this. Let me just click on unshare again. So,
Yeah.
oh, here we go. Bam. There we go. There we go. Yeah, this is a little bit crazy. Got it. Okay,
Okay.
here it is.
On a second here. Get it into there.
Here we go. So, this is one of the flowers I took at the RBG RGB. What I always get the acronyms a little mixed up. But this is one of the flowers I took, and I actually what I did is I laid on the grass in the wet grass while taking this photograph because it was just such a good photo, and I liked just the way the river and the way it did for that. And also, I used affinity on all photos, so I made it more brighter and more colorful, and it kind of popped. And some of it was about timing. So a lot of times you have to like get into positions you normally wouldn't get into when you're doing this kind of type of photography. You want to get in a certain perspective for, say, a flower, tree, or branch, or kind of a pond. This is another one, a little purple flower. If you can all see, guys, this took a bit to get used to because I wanted to get a good center shot of that flower. Well, but I also like the kind of leaves and ponds. It reminds me of this filmmaker called Andrei Tarkovsky, who in his film Solaris had these kind of really gorgeous imagery that he used. Of course, it moved, but this was still. So, and if you can see the water, you can see the the vines, the tanglements, and I wanted to see it all because it's kind of like you're seeing kind of this nature, if you will, and kind of like this kind of organic thing that just grows. This was just something that I did for a little, like because the lights always glowed, but it was during day, so I had to darken the photo editing wise so you can see the lights kind of bright. This is not my best photo, but I kind of wish it had variety of different light bulb colors because then it could have added a little sense of magic realism to it. This is another leaf pond kind of photo, a bunch of them this time. So, but it still had that kind of like, just something about it just clicked with it, especially when it's on the water. It gives the water and the lake or little pond a sense of character. This is actually a really good photo. Like of like the leaves, you can see like it draws to your eye over here where the central leaf, and you can see in the background you can see the other kind of leaves and plants, but also that shadow. It creates a sense of depth, kind of a sense of like dimension, if you will, and also just really like adding that little crisp to it. This is another little central shot of that flower. This little pink flower. Background was blurred, and this was a little nice one I took of the RGB building, and you had all these trees there. So it kind of felt like kind of felt like just you were having this architecture, but it also surrounded with trees, and it always creates a really nice image. Oh, that was where I was at the river. It was actually a perfect. Just it had to be well timed and all that stuff, and definitely remind me of the first photography project we did for digital photography too, Jorj. If you remember, shutter speed, and this is when it captured the waters that were pouring in and all its details.
Right.
And also just like with editing, like adding that blue, so it kind of gets that it looks rich. And here's another one. I had to make sure there was no people because I didn't want potential photo bombers, and that's probably why we don't like having people in the photos because they would photobomb, but luckily that wasn't a problem. Another one, and this one, I don't know, the fact that it has a Japanese designed house. If I told you that this was a Japanese house, you'd all say this was taken in Japan. It's like, yeah, you believe it, but no, it was taken in Hamilton. But I just love that architecture.
That's the tea room, right?
yeah, it's like this little, it's this little night flat, and below that is like a little drinking fountain. But when you look at it, it's just such a great shot, and just such a great. And again, I just like that kind of architecture within that, and also by having all these like plants, it gives it life. It gives this building more life. Basically, it's its own little character. Here's a little red flowers, blurred the background, and tried to make sure that, and also I think there was like a little bit of a smudge and all that. I cleared it up and all that via Affinity. Thank goodness for photo editing. And this is a nice stairway, and I always liked that there was a light center, so it kind of like felt like you were going through a path, and it was leading to this light or like this different world, if you will. Again, just like that kind of like, you have this darkness, but then you have it leads directly with the stairs to this lightened area. Really like that. Oh, hang on. Okay. What am I doing? Oh, this is my favorite shot of all. Just the statue. And I wanted, and I made sure that the statue had shadows in its eyes. So there's that. And it's just kind of like, it's just very, very just is this great. It's just, and also just like with the garden and all that stuff, you have the brightness, then you contrast that with the statue, and again with the shadows and all that stuff. It just was a perfect shot that I just did. I really like it. Just I just saw, I was like immediately said, I'm gonna take that photo. And a little bright little purple, pinkish purple flower. And these were some dandelion. I tried to there was this one that had the sign, if you can see it closely, the large. I tried to clone tool it, but it just looked weird and awkward. So I decided not to do it and just leave it as it is. Because I kind of like, sometimes you just got to like let it go. When you see, if you can see that sign, if you see my mouse pointing there. And I think, hold on, that was... Yep, that was it. So yeah, the stairs for that one when I clicked twice on that was for the Instagram version, because Instagram's kind of a pain in the butt when it comes to like formatting sometimes. So I have to create like a black border just so I don't warp the aspect ratio of that photo. It's must have been what filmmakers felt when VHS came along and it warped the film, so you had like the weird aspect ratio and had Panascan, so they had to create widescreen just so they can get the entire imagery on there. And so that's what I did for the RGB. But I do have some 3 fun photos I want to share, if that's okay. They're kind of
go ahead.
Let me just see if I can get this in the window. Okay. No, I just can't do that. I'll just simply, what I'm going to do is gonna click the exit there. Boom. Just gonna hold on. This is a little something fun. I wanted, just for laughs and giggles and stuff like that. I'm trying not to swear, so I'm trying to keep this thing as PG or PG as hell. Oh, wrong photo. So yeah, you're gonna hear my fun little commentary. And I know how to like really start this. And okay, and first of all, if it's there ready to go. So I'm just going to share one of these photos, and I just think this is kind of fun. If this was May the 4th, I would have just shared this photo just for the heck of it. It's Kylo Ren from Star Wars. I took this in like Hamilton Comic Con. What I did was just took a royalty-free background and just color, with color grading and all that, just change it so it resembles that final fight scene from Force Awakens. I just felt like this would have been a fun little Hey, can you see this photo or no, George?
No, I'm just seeing your program.
Oh wow, that's just weird.
Yeah, just
Hold on.
you have to open it.
Oh wait a minute. There we go. I got it. There we go. Now we can get. Now we're. Let's rewind this comment. So yeah, I took this guy in a costume in Hamilton. It was for Hamilton Comic Con, and what I did is I removed the background and placed him in a background where it had like winter trees and all that stuff. But it was actually sunny. So what I did was I color graded it and made it blue, so it looked dark. So it kind of resembled the Star Killer base from Force Awakens. So yeah, it's just that's what I did, and this is something I would have shared immediately had it been May 4th, and instead it's May 6th. You know, May the 4th, and all that stuff. That's just kind of something I wanted to do that was kind of like a little fun and all that. But the other one I want to showcase is this photo. This one is funny if you think about it. So let me just see this. See this. There we go. Yeah, so this is a little. If you see the gag, it's Spider-Man sitting on a bus station as a bus passes by. You can see the wanted photo of wanted captured Spider-Man for this award, and the bus passes by it, not giving a damn that hey, you can get money if you try to get this guy. So it was a little bit of a sense of humor, and I met this guy, and it was like a pitch perfect Spider-Man costume. And it was just something, and yeah, the background, all the stuff that I did, the photo background, the brick wall, these were all at Pixabay, royalty free, and if go on my Instagram, I credit all the people who made those images, and for the school bus, I just grabbed one, just reversed it, and just blurred it so it looked like it was like speeding, passing by, and all that stuff. And yeah, so you know, and so yeah, so and I even created the poster, the wanted sign in that bus stop. So kind of did that just for fun, basically. And I can show you the wanted poster up close because I also have a file on that if you want to see. And this is the last one I'll share for today and all that stuff.
Very cool.
Yeah, the one that I would influence is me the most on those kind of like little fantasy ones is there's a book illustrator called Cliff Nelson. He did his Dark Materials. He did a few Star Wars books. He did The Giver, and I felt like, oh, he uses a simple of photography mixed with like digital art, and I always was impressed by that when I was like really young because I thought those were just unbelievable. And I'm like, when I see those covers, like, why can't movies look like that? Or shows, and I mean, of course, I knew why. And this is the last one. It's the up close of the poster, and even the poster has like kind of a little in joke in it, other than my little signature. You can see photographed by Peter Benjamin Parker. So again, I took the same guy. What I did was just blurred the background and just did this. Kind of want to. I had to look up the actual address of the cubicle and get the logo of it, just the fictional one that doesn't exist in the Marvel world, and just post it there. And that was back in like 2024. I just put that there because I thought that was just kind of like, fun. So it's sort of so that's what I did. And luckily what I got was Canva had like newspaper format, so that was perfect for me to design it. And this is also me kind of experimenting with graphic design because I'm thinking like, because I'm trying to say like, because I always wanted, and the thing is I kind of imagined was I would use them for covers for like books or magazines and then use that as a cover, something that if I was hired. So I felt like here's some samples. These are just me just having fun, but also just doing some sample. Another influence was actually a cartoonist named William Wary, and he does stuff like that, just guys and just doing average stuff like ordering a sandwich or something like that. So that's really was the vibe I was trying to get at, just this kind of like, this layback. Because the thing I like about that character Spider-Man is he's an average dude. He just happens to, like he's not posing. He's just mostly like resting or just like, be on his phone basically on top of a bus station and all that, just waiting for this because he's just a kid playing, or an adult depending on which version you're reading, playing hero, but he's not really hero. He has a day job, and I like to imagine that he has eyeshadow all the time because he's not asleep a lot because that's doing what he has to do basically and he's not paid for it. So just like us photographers, sometimes we're not paid for the photographs, but we love it anyway.
Hang on. There. Yeah. I was saying, I like to get paid for my photography. I didn't like it when I didn't get paid. Anyway, thanks a lot, Maurice. And we're really coming to the end of our session. And since this is not a TV slot or anything, sometimes we go over, particularly if the presenter's good. If anybody has any other images, if you don't mind holding them till next week, and we'll have a look at them. And one of the couple of important things that I just want to point out when it comes to doing a presentation here, we should always rehearse it. We want to make sure that things go smoothly. We don't have too much dead air. Um, Not that either that I care one way or the other, because it is a casual chat. And the other thing is that keep in mind that you keep yourself in the center of the screen. So when you're looking at your presentation, try to keep in the center so that you're not, half a face or off the actual camera. There's so much I can do, but not a lot about resizing everything, especially if you're moving around a lot. Lighting is important, and the other thing, the audio is fantastic with all of you guys, so I don't have a problem with that. But the other thing is, as much as possible, I know that this is a hard thing to do, is to look into the camera, because that way, people feel more like you're talking to them and not down at your computer. So, a couple of things to keep in mind, especially if you're going to be doing any um, live on-camera videos, and it just makes it a little bit more professional looking for our chat. Not that that's a big deal, and that's what I'm going for. I was saying to Scott that this whole chat started just a little under a year ago, and the whole idea was that for my students and for people who are interested in photography to be able to come here, both on YouTube as well as on Zoom. They wanted to really participate in it. And so far, we've had some modest success. Interestingly enough, though, and I don't know if I mentioned this to you guys, we've had some people from India and from other parts of the world watch these videos. And the reason that they're not here live is because I think in India it's like an ungodly hour, right? Um, it's or they might be at work. I know that in there was somebody from Philippines, and he was saying that we're 12 hours apart. He's next day already. So many people come and visit the videos later, or at another time when it's more convenient to them, and that's why you'll see the count going up. I think the largest count we've had so far on any video presentation was like 134 people have looked at it, and that's great. And it's nice that that happens, and that's what I'm kind of going for, is to be able to show people the work that you guys are doing, show people what some professionals are doing if they're willing to come on and talk about their photography like Scott. And I really appreciate that. I think that that really adds a little bit more to this whole chat routine. And don't forget, I'm always open to any suggestions anybody has. If you know somebody who might be a good presenter or does some really interesting work, I know that Scott S., you also do some water drop photography, don't you?
One of everything. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I got into water drops probably now 14, 15 years ago, and like I was obsessed.
Mhm.
Like that's all I thought about. Like I mean, I went right off the deep end going into it until I figured it all out. And now well, I set it up in the winter, I think in February.
Yeah.
And I have a little setup and the triggers and the flashes and everything. It took me a couple hours to dial it back in because it had been about 4 years since I'd done it, and I got really good results right off the bat once I remembered everything. But you could do that for hours,
Yeah.
hours and hours and hours.
So
Just my wife, I go upstairs. What are you doing down there? I go water drops.
yeah,
Oh, okay,
yeah,
okay. That's why I haven't heard from you for a couple hours,
yeah,
right?
a
Because
couple
it
of
just
days.
yeah. You just go and go and go and go and go and
Yeah,
yeah. Once you're in the groove, it's like that's all you want to do. That's all you think about, right?
exactly.
It's very obsessive. Yeah, it's a lot of fun, but if you're not patient, if you don't have patience, there's other forms of photography you might want to consider,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
right?
yeah, still life.
Because
Still life.
my starting thing was one of the big things I'm known for in certain circles is the nature, like bugs, like dragonflies, butterflies, that kind of thing. Very very patient. You have to be patient or forget it.
Yeah,
Like I said, do another form of photography. So yeah, that kind of stuff. I've done some studio work. Recently, as much Friday, I had a girl over and we did some stuff in the studio. I call it a studio. It's my kid's old bedroom in the
yeah,
basement. But studio sounds a lot more fun
yeah.
and
More
just
professional.
different thing. Yeah, way more professional than. Would you like to come over to my bedroom?
Yeah,
You know. Uh,
good one.
so yeah, I do a little bit of everything. Have done anyways in the past. So yeah.
Good. Okay, well, that sort of brings us to the end. And just before we let you go, so we've had up to 4 people now on YouTube. Now it's back down to 3. But I just want to make sure that I emphasize the fact that Andrew McLaughlin will be here on the 20th, and of course Scott Simmons, who's here with us tonight, will be here on the 27th to reveal the secrets of his painting with life photography, which is going to be a fantastic presentation, including some videos on how he does it. So it won't just be,
So
yeah,
just for the record, George,
yes.
it's Simon's.
Oh, sorry, sorry.
Common mistake. Everybody does it. But I thought I'd correct you now before it gets too much further.
All right, I
But yeah,
appreciate that.
yeah, no problem.
I sit corrected because
Yeah.
I'm not standing.
But see that picture there is exactly what you're talking about. She has
Yeah.
this long thing on that kind of
Yes.
it's translucent. We hide behind it, right, while
Yeah.
we're doing
Yeah.
our
Yeah.
thing. That's why we get them to wear that stuff.
Yeah. There was
Yeah.
only one photo that of all the ones that I looked at where I could see your feet.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
It's
that
sometimes it's just it's inevitable,
right.
right?
Yeah. And I mean, you can take the time to Photoshop it out, but I think that you'd have to look for it. You'd actually have to look for it. Anyway, thanks, Scott. Appreciate it, and I appreciate the
Oh, you're
making
welcome.
sure that I get your name right.
Yeah. No
Okay,
problem.
let's see here. I think, yeah, so far we're done. So all I'm going to ask, please, if you're on YouTube, give me a like. We all appreciate a like, and of course, if you haven't already, then please subscribe. I appreciate that, and that way you'll know if there are any upcoming posts or guests. Uh, we'll be able to we'll be able to make sure that you're present, whether it's on YouTube or whether it's on uh, Zoom. Either way. And so, with that said, I'm going to say good night. Thank you very much for attending, and I'm going to fly our flag. Good night, everybody. Have a good week. Have a nice weekend, and we'll see you all next Wednesday. Take care.